You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Black Diamond Club, Pure Chiro Notes, MoveWell University, the Chiro Dex app, and Alok Trivedi. Let's hustle.
Alright guys, welcome to today's episode of Chiro Hustle. Today we have a very special guest, a very smart man who is running some business coaching programs, and if everyone were to follow this guy's advice, chiropractic would definitely be a different profession altogether. And here's Jim to tell you all about him.
So we had the honor of interviewing Dr. Alok Trivedi with the Aligned Performance Institute. And if you guys want to know how to hack into a better performance for your life and business, don't hesitate to reach out to Dr. Alok.
So tell us what your chiropractic story is. What made you decide to become a chiropractor in the first place?
You know, I'm not going to lie. Being a chiropractor was, I'd like to say a little bit of an accident. I don't believe in the accidents, but I do. It wasn't something that I had grown up and saying, I can't wait to go serve chiropractic. I was actually in physical therapy school, to be honest with you. And heck, I'm Indian. That's what we do. We go into medicine or we open 7-Elevens. That's what we do. But I was sitting there and I was looking to impress a girl, and Logan had a booth at my undergrad university, and I wanted her to seem like I had some ambition or something like that. and I filled out the paperwork, and the paperwork went to my dad, and my dad's like, "You want to be a chiropractor?" I said, "I don't know. I was just trying to impress a girl." And he says, "Well, you should look into it." My dad started doing all the research, to be honest with you, and then I was like, okay, and he started looking at it for me, and he's like, "This is more up your alley." And I ended up switching from PT and said, you know what, I want to go into chiropractic. And initially I was pretty, hell-bent on, still bringing PT and all that stuff in. And somehow when I started reading the green books and getting understanding of the 33 principles, chiropractic clicked for me. And I just said, I get it 100%. And then the rest is history, basically.
Very cool. So do you have any mantras or quotes that help you with your commitment as a chiropractor? Like, do you have any words of wisdom that stand out in your head?
I do. For me, it was always an acronym. It was HEAL. And I never thought that I was healing. But HEAL was an acronym that I kind of made up. We all talk about healing in different capacities as healers. But to me, healing was, help everyone align with love. And if I did that, I was serving chiropractic in a huge way, and serving people in a huge way, and the adjustments, the correction, whatever methodology people wanted to use, I felt that if you gave love and you served with 100% love and intention inside of that, the person was going to have everything they could do to facilitate a healing body, and letting innate express itself through itself.
Fantastic. So tell us what other kind of business and entrepreneurial things you have going on with your practice or your personal life. Like, what other kind of things are you doing to promote chiropractic or your business?
Yeah, I'm not in practice anymore. I kind of got to this point where, I did high volume. I saw 1,200 a week, over 15 years or whatever, and I made money inside the business. I did all that stuff. But personally, this is something we don't talk about in our profession. That's why I am talking about it, is that I got sick of seeing patients. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be real to myself. And I didn't want to see patients anymore, but I wanted to serve other people with what I created and contained. And what I do now is I train people how to think like truly authentically for themselves and help them become real to who they are, because we have such almost a cultish personality in our business, in our profession. Really, it's either you're either straight or not, or this, you're either this part. What if you're just a person who just wants to succeed? And that's what I help people do. Entrepreneurially, we've got several things. We've got the M3 seminars that are out there to help teaching media mindset and money, media marketing, and money. I speak to a lot of sales teams, sales organization, and really what I'm doing there, which is pretty amazing, is I'm taking chiropractic to another level. I'm teaching them chiropractic and the chiropractic philosophy, and showing them and to use it as a performance vehicle. So I'm teaching chiropractic philosophy to sales teams and leadership teams, helping that grow. And then helping doctors individually with their own practices and clearing their own, I like to say, the subluxations inside of their mind, because we all have them. And your own limiting subluxation is what's causing you from being successful in your own life, whether it be money, relationships, business, all that ties together. And if someone is having issues with relationship, it's going to affect their business. If someone's having issues with money, you're not going to be able to collect money, and it's going to be hard for you to sustain business. So those are some of the things that I'm up to right now.
So I'm going to jump in with you now and just ask you a couple questions as well. And Dr. Alok, what would you be able to accomplish if more people knew about the programs that you're running and how you're helping refine people to becoming more successful?
Man, I tell you what, I told this to a friend the other day, and a big name in the industry. But I said, if people went through my program, this profession would be at another level. And it sounds so arrogant to say that, and I get that. But what we're doing is helping people get over themselves. Like, I'll give you an example. I had a client recently and we don't talk about the negative crap in our business, but this client was sued by a practice management company for his contract, and the doctor actually had to go bankrupt in the process. And because of this was holding him back in his own business, in his own income, in his own career. And when he started and it built up all this anxiety and stress around money, all this relationship around money became a big thing. And literally, this doctor was collecting about $4,000 a month. And when he was paying over the phone, he was paying my staff like he was having an anxiety attack and was sweating and was, he had to take his shoes and socks off. He was sweating so profusely and was really, really stressed out. And was like, I don't know. And I said, look, you're going to make money. So in a 45-minute call, we collapsed any negative relationship he had with money. And I told him at that call, and I said, you're going to collect $20,000 this month. And he said, I've never done that. It's just so far-fetched. I said, just watch. It's going to happen. And he literally, that month, on the 29th of the month, he texted me, and he said, I just collected my $20,000 this month. He goes, how the hell did you just do that? I said, I didn't. You did. I just opened you up so that your innate can flow. That's the kind of results we're talking about. So just imagine, like, if every doctor clears their own psyche from their barriers, what would happen to their practices and business? They would all grow.
It's pretty amazing. And I want to take a second to ask you, do you use your business coaching for other companies, or do you like to keep it strictly for chiropractors? Because this sounds pretty interchangeable, that could be used for any business.
It is. I work with any business under the sun, really. That's why I can work with Fortune 500 sales teams, or I work with chiropractors. I really wasn't going to work with chiropractors because I'd kind of been out of the industry for about 10 years, to be honest. And I kind of got sucked back in, I guess, a little bit, I like to say. But I love working with chiropractors because it's where my root is. And I feel like if I'm serving doctors grow, then it's a big thing for, the profession. That's how I give back to the profession as well. But no, absolutely, I'm interchangeable. I work with, I'll say this, I don't know if this is politically correct. I have pizza shops just yesterday, a topless bar signed on with me. So, go figure. I have clients from every genre you can think of.
Yeah, and Alok, when we had a chance to meet you at a Chiro Sushi, which I'm forever grateful for that event and being able to network with high-profile people like yourself, I can't get away from how humorous you were, man, and how you connected with your audience when you talked to them, and how impactful you were from the stage and touching people's lives with your connection with them. I know I'm going off script here a little bit, but would you mind going back, if you can remember, a little bit of how you interacted with people during your talk at Chiro Sushi?
Well, I don't. It's probably, I've done it so many times, and that's probably partly innate as well and trained. But I think, if we can really get to the core essence, and I'm going to say things that, politically probably aren't correct, but if we can get over the BS of ourselves in business and in our profession and really touch people at a human chord and get to the realities of what people face then we can help serve them, right? Because we have this thing in our profession. We have a 7-year itch where people get sick and tired of the drama, the engagement, the struggle, and that they want to get out. I get it. I understand it. We also have things like, where we don't talk about business. We don't talk about bankruptcies. We don't talk about those things. And I think just one of the things that I try to be is extremely transparent and saying, look, this is life. Let's talk about life and how do we navigate it. I don't want to motivate you to make you feel rah-rah and then go home 2 days later and you go home to your screaming kids and your wife or your husband who, you have this resentful relationship. What if we can be real about it all and everyone grow through that and see how it's all serving us to become our greatest version of ourselves? And that's really what I try to instill every time I get on the platform. Try to do that in a very intentional way.
Yeah, and when I had a chance to talk with you, it was pretty awesome. I mean, you looked at me right away and knew that there was a good alliance there. And when you talk to people that you just meet, I know you probably come from more of a entrepreneurial spirit and more probably of like a psychological level with people. And I'm sure you're aware that there's 3 levels of people out there. There's people that will, they'll tell things that they won't tell you, things that they will tell you, and things that they'll never tell you. So how do you get down into people to get them to tell you the things that they won't tell people or they'll never tell people?
Well, all people have certain sets of values, right? And I learned this from my mentors. Everyone has a certain set of values. And if we can get into understanding what people's values are, what's important to them, then they're willing to be much more open. And it's a neurologic process. And if you can get into understanding who they are, that's why I say sales training is, sales training is not about manipulation or coercion. It's about bringing high value to the person for what they want with what you have. So if I have a service or a product that I'm trying to get to, a stay-at-home mom, I better not be talking about business because she's not going to relate to that. But if I can talk about how it's going to ease her life as a mother and get into making her children more educational, more smarter, and all these things, I'm going to tap into what her values are. If I'm sitting with you guys, who I know are very, chiropractic is a very high value to you guys. I'm going to talk about chiropractic, but if I talk about with Luke I've never met Luke, but if I start talking about practice management and insurance, he's probably never going to engage with me. But if I talk about audio, video, the type of sound systems that you guys are using, what are you guys using to stream at a higher, clearer effectiveness so we can get the chiropractic message out there, Luke is probably going to engage with me more. Would you agree, Luke?
Yes, absolutely.
So it's just a matter of understanding people's values and who they are. And once you understand the who and who they are, then bringing your services to them is just a matter of providing more value, providing enough value so that they want it.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Black Diamond Club, Pure Chiro Notes, MoveWell University, the Chiro Dex app, and Alok Trivedi. Let's hustle. Well, you've touched on a really good topic there, which is chiropractic, and that's a really important part of the Chiro Hustle podcast, because the reason we created this is we're trying to get chiropractic out of the 4 walls of chiropractic and bring it more mainstream. And having high-profile individuals like yourself speaking on chiropractic, we're hoping to appeal to a larger audience. And us being non-chiropractors, we're taking a different spin on this whole thing, but we're really interested in your vision now, and where do you see chiropractic in 20 years?
That's a good question. What I like to say about that is that wherever people want to take it, I see chiropractic expanding. I see chiropractic becoming more entrepreneurial over the course of the next 20 years. I still continue to be very truthful. I still see the divisions, because you have to have the divisions. It's like, I love the idea. Who's that guy? That Joe Rogan guy. Right? Everyone was pissed off at Joe Rogan about the crap that he said about chiropractic and all that, right? Do you guys remember that?
Oh, yeah. I know that there was a few, the the wood shredder or the chipper shredder of information got spit out. So I saw different fragments of that.
Yeah, I did too, and I didn't really comment on it because I just wanted to see what happened. But what the interesting thing was is chiropractic and chiropractors are so busy fighting themselves that they don't realize the war is outside of them. But when you have someone fighting from the outside, fighting us as a collective unit, it's the only time it unified us. From people from Jim Tempo to Billy D to you guys to the entrepreneurial guys to the ACA to the ICA, everyone stood up. People from it all stood up to unify. So what I say is that let the warriors come to chiropractic because it's the only time we stand up and unify as a profession. So we need more wars as a profession to come at us so that we can continue to grow in that capacity. And the more wars we have outside of us, the more we will unify as a unit. And if that happens over the course of the next 20 years, I see chiropractic being really, really strong and successful. And I think it's going to go to a much more entrepreneurial essence where insurance isn't going to be part of the game. And I see that people are going to have to become better at sales and business because of that.
So I know that those things really matter, and I agree with you 100% of how we need to get to that level. But how does the public fit into that? How does the public and their voice fit into the future of chiropractic?
That's a good point. It's going to become more education, and I think it's going to become people like yourselves and bringing more information to the public on what the services of chiropractic are. Because I love the idea where people say, I don't believe in chiropractic. Okay, but you also don't need to believe in medicine because placebo has shown the same effects as many medicines do. So therefore, you don't have to have science behind you in medicine either. So we know that it's a mindset thing, as a lot of healing is. But I think, the more we see guys out there teaching and being healthier and participating in a healthier movement, this younger generation is not as adamant on drugs. And the more educated they become, the more they want to live more of a healthy lifestyle. And they want to avoid the negativities of a poor lifestyle. So I think we're going to see the public wanting chiropractic far more than we have over the last 20 years.
And you touched on something really interesting there. And I know that you're a doctor, and I know that you're also, coming from a holistic standpoint, but I'm sure you've seen the troubles with the medical industry when it comes to the patients that others are seeing and the buzz going around about, the addictions out there and the problems with people becoming healthy and getting misled with, the medical industry. How do we curb that?
How do we curb what? I guess I didn't follow the state of the question.
How do we curb the way that people are being addressed by the medical industry? I mean, there's a huge problem with the way that people are being prescribed and they're falling into addiction and things of that nature. I guess the better question is, how can chiropractic help fill that void?
It's a good question, and I don't think that we have to do anything. I think they're going to come naturally. I think, in my opinion, medicine and the daily usages of medicine are shooting themselves in the foot. And I think medical utilization is going to actually go down, and drug utilization is going to go down because now people have access to information where they can go do things differently. And everyone knows that the side effects are there, and they don't want those. So they ask themselves, is there an alternative way that I can live versus having to take these drugs and have these side effects? So medicine functions on fear where chiropractic functions on abundance and the vitalistic approach. But I think, I don't think there's going to be a certain population in a segment that is so necessary for medicine. They need it. And they will continue to stay there. I don't know that we're going to make a whole 100% shift on that. And I don't think we have, at this point at least, the money to do that, to fight them in a governmental standpoint. But I think what we do have is the power of knowledge and information and people giving results. So the more doctors that are out there educating, using mediums and platforms like you guys are doing, like this and Facebook and social media platforms, and educating people and knowing that they have something to educate on, I think that's going to be the shift. I think people are going to come into it on their own.
So kind of touching on social media and Facebook a little bit, What are some of your key marketing strategies, and how do you spread the word about your business training program?
I speak. I teach. I speak. I get out there. I speak to more people. I do interviews like this, which you guys are kind enough to have me on. But definitely, social media is a part of today's world, and you have to be on it. But from a consulting point and coaching point, I use Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't do print anymore, but the more opportunities I get to get in front of people and tell them and share with them what I do helps my platform. And using Facebook is a big way. And if you're not using Facebook, you're gonna get drowned. It just is what it is. That if you're not on Facebook, you're not using Facebook advertising, you're not using the groups, you're not creating your own community, and taking from likes to leads, then you're going to struggle in business in today's market.
So not necessarily from a business perspective, but maybe just from a personal standpoint, do you have a favorite app or excuse me, piece of technology that you use on a daily basis?
Do I have a favorite app? I don't know if I do. Well, my cell phone, obviously. I think I do like Facebook because it allows me to connect to the world and be able to be in one place and connect everything. I wouldn't say that there's a certain app, but I like the accessibility to knowledge and information. I do use Google a lot. I'll Google things that I don't know very quickly and for knowledge to gain better insight. But that would probably be, for me at least.
I mean, I can't live without Google myself either, so...
Yeah.
And I remember when I first met Jim, one of his favorite catchphrases was Google it. Every time I'd ask him something, he'd say, Google it. I'm like, man, okay.
My kids say the same thing. They're like, well, if you don't know anything, Dad, Google it. It's like they're growing up. This next generation is growing up to access to anything that they want to. So if someone's in business and they don't realize that these people are simply going out looking. I'll give you a perfect example of this. I had a friend, and she was having some struggles, and she was having she was having a gallstone. And I was like, man, I don't really know what to do with a gallstone. I YouTubed how to treat it. And literally took the information, applied it to her, and did the technique that this doctor showed, and in 10 minutes she felt better.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous.
How to help a gallstone. Google.
Google it.
So, what kind of things do you like to listen to or read? Are there any podcasts or blogs or books that you love to read on a regular basis?
I read a lot. I read, I like to say that, in studying success and studying success development, I've studied a lot of failure as well. Then I look at my own life to adhere that. But I read a lot of different things. But I like to read science because personal development has been a journey of a lot of opinions and hearsays on, here's what I did, follow what I did. And it just doesn't work that way anymore. Now we have information on success, science, and neuroscience. So I read a lot of neuroscience stuff. And how the brain works. And so the processes that I create and I take to the market space are all neurologically based. That's why I can say with certainty that if you do the work in my programs, you get the results. It's not a subjective opinion. It's a scientific fact that this is how this works. So if you answer these questions, do the work, that the tools that are assigned, you will see the result, 100%. So I do a lot of research behind that. I like reading about money and studying about money and business and entrepreneurship and that as well.
Well, I know Luke asked you a very wide question. Now I'm going to narrow it down a little bit. And who are some of the key mentors that you follow, or a couple of the key personalities that you follow that give you the resources for the science and for the relationship and money information?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I've had some great mentors over my life. I've been mentored my past business partner, Steve Siebold, where I was a president of Mental Toughness University, and really we're in 80 countries training salespeople from all over the world. that he's a mentor of mine, and he's written some great books, and an expert in the field of mental toughness, and still a great friend. And he's written a book I just saw today, actually it was posted on Facebook, that his book is one of the top 10 books with Warren Buffett on how rich people think. It's a great book. Dr. John DeMartini, who's a chiropractor as well, he's one of my favorites and a dear friend, and a great teacher to me. Joe Dispenza, who's another chiropractor, and a neuroscientist, taking his stuff and material to another level. I like the early stuff, believe it or not, of Deepak Chopra, but now I don't really care for his stuff too much. Robin Sharma is another person that who blends leadership and that together. I follow his stuff very heavily. And then I like listening to Grant Cardone. I like listening to his stuff, although I don't agree with everything he says. I just like him. He's entertaining to me. So I like his stuff as well.
Well, that's good. I think that's a great resource for people that will be interested in the show and that will listen to it, because there's so many people out there that honestly, they just need guidance. They need resources. They need the understanding from somebody like you that's been there, done that, and coaches people and trains people on these necessities that it takes to get to the next level. And I know that we're coming to the end of our segment here on Chiro Hustle with you. Is there anything that we didn't ask you that you thought that we should have asked you that you'd like to touch on?
No, I think I love what you guys are doing, and I love the message that you guys are bringing out to people, and I love the fact that you guys have non-chiropractors doing it. I really do. I've always said that. And, Jim, when you and I connected personally, I said, I love the fact that you guys made the documentary and are taking that up to people, to educate people. And I think that the key thing for people to understand chiropractic more is to understand that, chiropractic is it's not a cult or a conspiracy. It's really how truly healing works, and chiropractic is just a label that you put on it, and this is the method we do, but it's about healing from the inside, and I love that. And that's really and honestly, that's very dear to my heart, because that's kind of what I do with my work with people in their headspace, is getting them to see things from a clearer perspective so that they can actually change their neurology, physiology, psychology, and their sociology because of it, so that they can actually empower their lives and empower their health and the people around them to live much more inspired and truly who they are. That's really what it's about to me. So I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Well, I know I speak for both of us when I say we're super honored to have you on our show today. But before we all get off the line, what are some website links where people can find you, or anything that, resources you want people to go to? Where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. They can go to alignedperformanceinstitute.com. That's my company page. Gives you a little bit of an understanding of what I do, what we do, the seminars and things that we do. And, for you guys, what we'll also do is that if someone wants to talk to me and schedule a time to sit down and chat and kind of go through their business, they can set up a session with myself or one of my trainers and that, and they'll be able to help you guys and help people. And they can just go to alignedmastery.com, and they can fill out the form and set up a time and speak to someone on our team, or myself even, and we'll go through and see if we can help them grow, take their business, and whatever barriers are holding them back, see if we can clear those out and help them through it. There's no charge for that. It's absolutely free.
Fantastic. Well, that just about wraps up this episode of Chiro Hustle. I think Jim and I are going to say our goodbyes, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, sir.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you.
Hey, Dr. Alok, thank you for making time to be on the episode of Chiro Hustle, and I look forward to having a really positive, bright future with you, man.
You too, my friend.
All right, we'll see you later.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.